Uganda immigration policy need an overhaul. We have heard a lot about illegal activities going on in Uganda Passport Office. This is a story that started a long time ago, which include sales of Uganda passport to foreigners, including unofficial cash transaction when you apply for Uganda passport or renewing an old one. Today, we have moved to an East African electronic machine readable passport with a chip embedded in it. The e-passport that is introduced in January last year come in three forms. The slate blue, which is an ordinary one, the green passport, which is a service one, and the red passport, that is diplomatic passport. We all know that through the back door, you can get those services in few days. There's a lot of illegal activities going on, and our cash is changing hands at the Internal Affairs Ministry, which is really sad and disturbing. We keep hearing stories from those who visit those offices, and the government is doing nothing to fight corruption within that department. But enough seems not to be enough. Corruption in Uganda at all levels has become new normal policy. The immigration officers are also a part of this new normal policy. Without a bribe, nothing moves. The new normal policy is found from top to bottom. As you paddle through all districts in Uganda, the rainbow of the new normal policy is a part of our daily life. It is sparing no one. If a non-government organization are in spotlight of doing the same. A friend once told me that when he visited the passport office, it took him more than a month before he got his passport, simply because he refused to pay bribe. Those who have cash to throw around got their passport in less than 2 days. I understand that even policemen and ordinary people who are helping people in filling those passports when you go to ask for it in the office, in the document in the office of the Internal Affairs, they are all involved. They are agents of those people working within that ministry. They are not there just to help you fill in the form, help you with passport request, but they are involved. They are the go-between. You as the citizen who goes to ask for that passport and the staff who are working within the Ministry of Immigration or the passport office. You see, all these people are shareholders in bribes that is going on within the organization. They are shareholders. The norm and values we used to have is gone. We need a complete overhaul of the immigration system if we want to survive the 21st century. A complete overhaul of the immigration system. When you hear about what is going on with corruption in all sectors of our daily life, it hurts. You get depressed and you keep asking yourself, why we left it to go so far? In fact, because it's very easy to buy those passports, we may now have millions and millions of foreigners who bought Uganda passport. And we cannot rule out that so many criminals also got their wishes to become Ugandans. And now all Uganda passport. Believe me. Believe me. Because if you can, and you have money, you can just walk in and buy those passports. Because you have money, you can corrupt whoever comes your way. Then one begin to ask himself, for the last so many years, we have seen the population of Uganda growing day in, day out. We came from 17 millions and we are now heading towards 40-something millions Ugandans. And if you begin to ask yourself, are we so busy producing so many children and our population is going up so rapidly? Then you may be wrong. You may be wrong. If you are not careful, the half of that population are people from outside Uganda. I had a lot of people complaining that when you go to different municipalities or districts in Uganda, you'll find different nationalities. From 0 to 0, they're all there. And then you begin to ask yourself, some of those people are not Ugandans, but they call themselves investors. Because the system in Uganda is very easy. When you have 2 million shillings, you can call yourself an investor. But then when you begin to ask yourself, what sort of investors do we have? You cannot have an investor that is going to sell tomato, win a market, something that Ugandans could do. You cannot have investors walking around selling watches in the district. And they call themselves investors, a job Ugandan can do. You find some of those investors running lodges in this district, a job that a Ugandan can do, and still they call themselves investors. So it's very easy. In Uganda, you can come with 2 million and live with $750 million. Just like that. 2 million Ugandan shillings, you call yourself an investor. It is time, if they don't wake up, then we are in shit. We are in deep problem. I understand that sometimes if you refuse to pay bribes, your file will go missing. Your file will go missing. And if you come back and talk to them nicely, and you pay them that money, then the file will surface back within few hours. The file will surface back within few hours. Within few hours, then you have your passport ready. The only thing you have to do is to pay the money. Everything is money. To be honest, Uganda has become a real sick state that need to be rescued from those monsters of new normal policy. The same ministry in 2004 admitted that a diplomatic passport were in the wrong hand. And today, we are talking about the same thing, corruption and failure to clean up abuse of this diplomatic passport and the bribes that had been going on. It was also clear some years back that some officials in the directorate were implicated in passport forgeries, including report that Uganda travel documents were being forged by non-citizens in South Africa. And officials of the Uganda High Commission in Pretoria were cited as accomplices in the same. In 2015, the Internal Affairs Ministry paraded Indian nationals arrested over illegal passports. They were facilitating fraudulent processing of Uganda passport. This sort of activities had been going on for a very long time now, and nothing is being done. You see, we have these Asians who comes to Uganda, they commit crime, and they bribe their way out. And some of those Asians who were complicated are still there in Uganda up to today. They're doing business. They're partners in crime with top officials. And some of them are working for those people. Because if you look, if you Google, anybody who can Google the richest people in Uganda today, so the one you find their pictures, their photos are all Asians, the richest. You just look for 10 richest Ugandans, then you realize that why is that? The name of other Ugandans are not appearing. And these people are working probably as an agent for top people within the system itself. And those top people are playing a very clever game, a game of allowing those people to enter Uganda and rob Uganda clean of their money. And in this world, sometimes it's very difficult to trace that money a day after. We all know that leaders come and leaders go. But tracing that money is not going to be easy, because you will have to negotiate with the country where they put the money in. Probably they will also want to have a little bit of taste of what it is like to have that money. So if you keep asking yourself, why do we allow criminals? Because this type of those Asians who were arrested forging Uganda passport, those type of people should have been deported immediately. But you don't hear anything about it. You see, because of corruption, now we have something else next to corruption is developing in Uganda today. Now, we have what used to be in Europe as a sham marriage, that people get married because they want to get resident permits. These people, they get married not because they love one another, but because the other one want to have a resident permit. You see, when we were growing up, we used to write love letters. We used to fight for girls because you'll try, she'll let you down, she'll try, she'll say no, you'll try, she'll say no. You keep on writing letter until the moment she admits, say, okay. Then you know that is love. You go for what you want, you try it, she says no, I don't want. But today, most of Ugandans women are involved in sham marriage. It is very simple. You can say, these women are involved in sham marriages because of poverty. That is nonsense. They are involved in sham marriages because we have a mentality problem. If we don't change our mindsets, then we don't see the smoke in front of us. This is something that is happening with the new generation. When we were growing up, it was something else. That is why I was talking about love letters. We grew up in a completely different society with norms and values. But today, we have a society, the new generation, who does not understand the meaning of norms and value. A woman can tell you that, listen, I don't love you, but I love your money. But simply because we men are slaves, we still fall for it. A woman has told you, I don't love you, I love your money. And you still say, okay, you love my money, but we can still live together. Does it make sense to you? Not to me. It does not make sense to me at all. You see, the problem we are having in Uganda now, we have the Chinese and the Nigerians who are marrying our women to gain citizenship. I understand that even petty traders had been pouring into Uganda, as I said before. You find some of them selling watches, and they call themselves investors. Some of them are selling tomatoes, and you call them investors. These people are pouring into Uganda and calling themselves investors. But in reality, they are not investors. The increasing numbers of Chinese and Nigerian men who are marrying Ugandan women to gain resident permit in order to continue their business activities in the country is wrong. The sham marriage is wrong. I'm not against a foreigner marrying our women or a foreigner marrying our men. Follow the right channel. Marry somebody because you love that person. But don't marry someone because you want to have a resident permit. You see, the sham marriage has been happening in Europe so many years back. It was the African man and African women who wanted to have resident permits. A lot of them were involved in sham marriages before. But the government in Europe tightened the button, and you don't hear about those sham marriages anymore. It is time our member of parliament, our parliament, and the representative of the people should do something about this new development of sham marriages, where some people claim that those things are happening because of poverty. But believe me, poverty does not make you stupid. Poverty does not make you do wrong things. Poverty is a part of our life. We grew up in poverty, but it depends how you use that poverty to uplift yourself that matters. But if you start doing it simply because you see a Chinese having a bag of money, and then you say, I don't love you, but I love your money, then we are going the wrong direction. It is time that our officials should stamp out those sham marriages. Those people should be picked up, put in the next plane back to Nigeria or wherever, China or wherever they come from. Because if you don't do it, we are in real problem. I understand some of those people, they just want to get the citizenship and they want to get Uganda passport, because with Uganda passport you can still go somewhere. They allow you to go. But if you use your own country passport, they may not allow you in. And this is the activities that is going on in this country. These people who are involved in some marriages, something that should not be allowed to happen. How can an investor end up selling tomatoes at a winter market? You can't believe that, do you? Something we can do it ourselves. As Ugandan, we should not allow investors like the Chinese coming to Uganda to import their own laborers into Uganda and leave them there to do the job that our people can do. Money is sweet, and the government should also understand, if you are borrowing money from the Chinese and you want to bring those laborers and force them on our people are going to reject such a government, and we will not allow that to happen. We have crossed the red line. We have crossed the red line. We have more than 50,000 Chinese already in Uganda. It could even be up to 100,000. Let me be clear. I'm not against anyone marrying those they love, but just marriages should be based on real love, not a sham one that give you a citizenship. It is time we stand up for our own. I don't like using the language that is bitter on people. But due to the immigration fraud that is going on, we have to make sure that we seal up the loopholes and make sure that Uganda does not become a dumping state of foreigners from other countries. There is nowhere in the world, there is no country in the world that throws their door open for those who can pay a few dollars more to buy their way into the citizenship. There is no country in the world who does that. if we don't act now, you see the amount of foreigners, the amount of passport being sold, our population is going to explode. And when it does, then we are in real trouble. Then we are in real trouble. This is a wake-up call for all Ugandans. Some of you may think that what is going on here is globalization. No, it is not. We are in for something else. You see, when a state fails to control corruption, when a state fails to control the immigration system, when the parliament fails to see the light at the end of the tunnel, then we are in deep shit. When we fail to understand what all democracy is all about, then we are in real trouble. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the few things that are happening. But there's a lot that has been going on. If we don't wake up, we are going to be in deep trouble. And to you, the young generation, let me tell you something. Don't just get married because of poverty. Poverty has never killed us. We grew up to who we are today. Thank you for listening.